Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the analysis. We're going to be looking at the charts. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Litecoin, Quant, the DXY, the US 100, Dow Jones, and the S&P 500. We had an interesting move yesterday, and if you were in the Discord, I gave you a heads up that 30K is possible. I still see more downside, but I said that 30K is possible. And when the move started, I gave you a target of 30,239, I believe. Of course, we exceeded that, but if you had risk management, proper trading, depending on what exchange you were on, you could have exploited that move. Now, what I'm doing is that I'm looking at Bitcoin on the weekly chart. Frankly, I exploited that chart yesterday, took the move, not from the very high, but I caught the move down. It was a nice thousand, I think it was $1,000 down from 29,059 short. It wasn't bad. Now, the reason why I didn't catch the high of the move because I was on another account, crypto funded account, and I was in the evaluation process. So at that time, I was trading my evaluation. And I caught some of that move, which ended my evaluation process, and I got funded. So now I'm on a crypto funded account, and I caught the rest of the move. And if you want to learn about more about getting funded or getting on a crypto funded account, how does it work and all that, you could post questions in the or request in the comments, and I'll make a video about it. Now, this is a weekly chart for Bitcoin. We were below the EMAs. If you remember, I was talking about the KEMA, QEMAs. Now I have on the chart the 50, 200, 300, and 400 EMAs. This is on the weekly chart. That's what I've been looking at as long for when Bitcoin was down here. I was saying that we never broke below, we never came down below the 300 EMA, and we broke below the 400, tapped it, and we got a pump out, and we started reclaiming those EMAs. At the moment on the weekly chart, we're getting almost perfect support from the 50. Well, we're not touching, but your 50 is at 26,967. I would deem that the next point of support. If Bitcoin really falls, we might see a support at 26,950. I like that 950 because I've seen it several times coming into play. 26,950. Why am I putting this horizontal line? I don't know why, because it's marked over here on the screen. 26,967 on the weekly chart. This is on the Bitstamp chart. I have this level marked from before, 28,515. I'm not quite sure why, but as you can see, 28.5 at the moment is our resistance. It's a significant level for Bitcoin. If you go left, you could see this is where we got a strong bounce from, and at the moment we are not getting that much of a bounce. 28,583. So this was a previous support demand zone. Previous demand zone or support zone is now a supply zone. That means you sell off from. For today, I have some levels into the video. I'm going to show you some more of those levels that I'm waiting for before I enter a trade. At the moment, I haven't entered a new trade. My trade that I had yesterday, I closed it. I didn't let it bounce out, so I closed it. Support, support, support. These are on weekly charts. This is so much support, and now it's going to be so much resistance, but we may be able to break off. Okay, let's see how much we have. One daily. This is on the daily. We bounced off. Daily bounced off. Over here we kind of squiggled around, bounced off. Over here the yellow line was our resistance, broke out, broke below, deviated, came below, and now you can see that we are finding it as resistance again. Looking at that, even on the daily, we don't have EMAs above us. Maybe if we go to smaller EMAs, 10 EMA or something like that, but even on the higher time frame, let's go to the monthly just to start seeing any. All right, maybe I would see the 10 on the monthly. I'm not really interested. Let me put the 10 and the 20. Yeah, 27,861, 25,403. I'm not really interested in that. Now that's on the Bitstamp chart. Now before I skip this chart. Let me go back and show you what has Bitcoin been doing in regards to a certain layout that I had. There we go. Now over here we can go on the daily chart and get rid of this indicator, and I'm going to show you. Look at this. Bitcoin broke down from the fib channels, spiked clearly very high, that's about $600 spike, and came down, attempted coming up. You can see it could be the 0.786, came all the way up to the 0.786. We like doing these double tops that come back to the 786 or even 618 sometimes, and gave you a nice move down, came very close to the Fibonacci channels, didn't touch it, front ran it, because this should have been at 26,596, and Bitcoin came all the way to 27,299, bounced off, came very close to the top of the fib channel, and it came all the way up to 29.9. If it went all the way up to 29,948, so it missed it by $50 and came down. In addition to this confluence of Fibonacci channels as resistance, I have other levels I'm going to show you on the other chart. If we go to smaller time frames, you could see how Bitcoin behaves in and around these regions. It could climb up, crawl up, but this bounce up, you could clearly see that it could have been from the lows over here. If we take it from this low, you can see that Bitcoin went up to the 1.618. It's not on this chart, it isn't, but on the Binance futures chart, I'll show you that in a minute. We went up there. And what is that telling me? Now let's go to the Binance futures chart. Not this chart, the next chart. Okay. The Binance futures chart over here, if I go to the 4-hourly and turn off the indicator. It's taking too long to load, but I have so many charts up, so maybe that's why. I can close this chart and go back here. This is Ethereum. I don't want Ethereum. Back to Binance. Refresh. Sorry about that, people. Okay, the Binance chart. If we go down to the hourly and you look at the 1 hour chart without the indicator, I'll put it even on the daily to have a cleaner chart. Now on the daily, I can show you that we went all the way up here, the 1.618. So I'll take a trend-based fib from the low over here. I believe this was a high. If it doesn't work out, yesterday I measured it and it came out perfectly. You see, 1.618 was at 30,702. We came all the way up to 30,720. So we shot the we went all the way to 1.618 and $18 more. Now, what does that say? Yeah, for the bullish scenario. The bullish scenario that people are looking at is, since this November lows or December lows, or you could say even January when we started rallying up, since then we've rallied about, let's see, we came about 106% at the highs. Let's say it was 100% rally from 15K to 31K. Anyhow, now if you want to be bullish, you have to accept this. If you want to be bullish, you have to accept that this could be, this move down is just a correction. And I'm sure a lot of bulls will accept that. And a correction sometimes happens, a lot of times, in an ABC or WXY. So I can say this move down was an A from this peak over here, all the way to the bottom over here, was an A. Now we expect the B. The B is preferably to go to the 0.5 fib. Sometimes we could extend it, and if we come all the way up here, that might not be a B. It might be a 1, a 2, and that's even scarier. We're coming down for a 3. So this is, presumably, if I want to be bullish, I'll say this is a B wave. Yeah? I'll say, or I can say this was an A, this was a B, overshooting B, extended B pocket, and we're going to come down for a C. That's another scenario. We could say this is an A, the B came so high, and we're going to come to a C that could take us to 21,686 dollars, or even 25,576, which we came down. so I would think it would come a bit lower. Now, I'm going to go to the first scenario, which is a 1-2 or an AB. The most likely this is a 1-2 because it came all the way to 0.786. If it's going to start failing and breaking below these lows, then we confirm, we could say with high likelihood it's a 1-2. So I said the B wave came, or the second wave came all the way to the 0.786. We're expecting a C or a third. Now, good news about the C, it can stop at the 0.618 Fibonacci, and that would be at around 26,237. But it will also extend all the way down to the 1.618, 18,969. 18,969. In addition to that, we have a head and shoulders. Our head and shoulders, all the way to the neckline over here. You take a trend line and you put the trend line at the neckline. The measured move for this could take you down to 17,583. So even lower. But a lot of times, I've seen it before. I won't say a lot of times, but I've seen it before. Head and shoulders don't play out. In addition to that, we're about to have, or we had a bearish cross. What did I tell you about bearish and bullish crosses on higher time frames? When we have a bearish cross or bullish cross on high time frames, that sometimes marks the end of the move. So once we see that, it doesn't always mean a continuation, especially on higher time frames. It does, but in a way it doesn't. A lot of times it could mean the end of the move. Now over here, what's happening? This is on the weekly time frame. We got 50 cross below the 200 over here, and then above. This is just telling me we're ranging sideways. We might even cross below again. Now 4 hourly, what I'm expecting for Bitcoin today or the next coming days, we have some important news coming out. We have Jerome Powell speaking this week, I think. That will be a market mover. So I'd like to see what Jerome Powell has to say this week. 17th October, that's 17th October is today. We have, nothing concerned with the US. Let's look. Oh yeah, we have the core retail sales month on month. That's in about an hour. Retail sales month on month. Industrial production month on month. Now let's look at the rest of the week. I want to see when Jerome Powell. Thursday, you have employment change, unemployment rate. They anticipate the unemployment rate to be the same. Employment change, they expect it to be lower than last time, but we know what happened last time. It was significantly higher, which is not good for the markets and good for the dollar. Fed Chair Powell speaks on Thursday, so that will be good. That will be during the New York session. We'll have some volatility. Going back to the charts, going back to Bitcoin on the 4 hourly. Now I want to look at divergences. Do we have any divergences? And I'm going to get to those levels. At the moment, if we want to see divergences, you have to go to the chart type and change it to line chart, remove your indicators, and you could see if you have any divergences. Over here, we clearly have a lower high, no divergences, bullish divergences, none at the moment, except if you look at this, higher lows and lower lows. This could give us a push up. So Bitcoin needs to not break below the 21,178. 28,178, Bitcoin needs to not close below it. If Bitcoin closes below the 21,175, I was saying 178, but it's 175 to be exact. If we start closing candles below that, or opening and closing candles below that, that will confirm the double top in this 4 hour time frame. It will erase the bullish or hidden bullish divergence that we have in the chart. This is what I'm talking about. This is the bullish divergence that we have at the moment and need to hold the level. And at the moment over here, I mean hidden bullish, that's what we have. So we need to continue higher with the RSI. Possibly this is what we need to do, is continue higher, come up with the RSI, price overshoots this, closes above the 28,536, forms hidden bearish divergence. So RSI will come up and break above this RSI high, maybe, and price will struggle over here and break down, or price will come up here and form a higher high in price, but RSI won't be able to go that high and will form a lower high on RSI, and that will be bearish divergence, or we're going to form hidden bearish divergence if RSI goes higher. Now that could give us a retrace or a continuation to the downside. In the short term, now I want to go back, bring back all my drawings and indicators. I like my charts. I can see everything in them. Going back to the charts, my next 3 targets that I'll be watching for. Actually, I have 4 targets, 4 levels that I'm going to be watching for reactions. I can't have just one level because no one knows exactly where the market's going to end. So I'm going to give you 4 levels. First level is going to be 28,780. If this doesn't hold, 29,216, followed by 29,561, followed by 30,086. And I'm going to explain why do I have those levels. 28,782 is a value area low of the May 2022 range. So if you go back to the May 2022 range over here, you can see the fixed range volume profile for May 2022 range. It has played a significant role over here, the yellow lines. This line's a value area high, POC value area low. You could see the reactions. So if we come back up here to the value area low where we got several bounces, I would expect to find some resistance. We have recovered the vectors that are here, these insufficiencies, up to halfway through this one. Okay, that's the first level, 28,780. The next level, value area high of another range. What range are you talking about? This is the range I'm talking about. Maybe it needs adjustment. Pull back. Oh. Value area high. Let me adjust it. I'm very sure it's a level that I had and it was respected. There you go. Value area high of this entire head and shoulders range is over there. POC is down here, 26,876, which would coincide with that Fibonacci channel that I was talking about, 26,850 or 26, somewhere around 26,950. Anyways, so yeah, value area high is the range. Now, why do I have these other 2 targets? 29,561 and 30,086. 29,561. I pull a Fibonacci from the high to the low. You could see my 0.618 would come at, wait, first the 0.786 and the 0.618. Let me adjust it because it doesn't look right to me. Something isn't right here. However, I know when I marked them earlier, they look perfect. The 0.618 is close. It's at 29,060, but I have a level at 29,216. So I have these 2 levels, 29,561, 30,086. It's either it would have been a Fibonacci level that I marked out, or it could have been let me see, how did I match it out? It could have been a, Yeah, I can't remember, but looking at the chart, looking left, this is a level where you got some selling power over here. So you could take it as that, and over here again, you had a zone of selling power. I will just take it as that for now because I can't remember. Sometimes I delete things on my charts, but yeah. So yeah, that's about for Bitcoin. Ethereum, on the other hand, doing the same as Bitcoin, but Ethereum is leading Bitcoin on the breakdown. You can see that Bitcoin on the 15 minute, is it breaking the 15 EMA, 50 EMA on the 15 minute? Bitcoin is holding the 50 EMA. Ethereum slightly breaking down. We had a strong move down, slightly strong, but we're holding. We could continue. Ethereum can come all the way down and recover. 1563 is possible even. For Bitcoin, I didn't give you the targets to the downside. I just mentioned the targets to the upside. To the downside, Bitcoin can come and find support at these zones. For starters, we could come to 27,400. We could find somewhere around there, 27.4, 27.5, and we'd be recovering maybe half of this vector candle at around 27.9 and bounce off. That would be a good support, 27.9. If we lose that, we could come down to 26,879. If we lose that, we're coming to the next level, 26,305. You see, this is so simple. We have a trend line at the moment. If we are able to hold this trend line to the upside, that would be great for Bitcoin. At the moment, we are above it, and we could move the trend line like this to include the latest touches. Ethereum, on the other hand, my levels for Ethereum to the upside, 16,666, 1650 is always a level you could remember, and we came all the way up to 1642. The last time we came up, we got so close to 16,660, but it was front run, and Ethereum did not touch that level. I need to refresh this. I have so many charts. I'll close the Bitcoin chart now. You could see the last time we got here, we broke down, came back, retraced, front ran it, and came all the way to 1664, missed it by $2, and we broke down significantly all the way down 150 points down. Now we spiked up yesterday. As I always say, whenever you see a quick spike up, expect a retrace, and now it's not very far-fetched that Ethereum can come and retrace into this red candle and recover some of it if it can. And Bitcoin would do the same. We have a red candle, we could come and recover to 1603 for Ethereum. We've done that already, 0.5 Fibonacci hit on the 15 minute. We could come even a bit higher to the 0.618, but I like the halfway zone. Ethereum, that's for Ethereum. Solana, on the other hand, Solana did the dirty. Solana came all the way up to $25. The 25 problem. Solana has a 25 problem. We've had it, I believe, since 2022. 25 problem. I've been mentioning if Solana can take out the $25 in, then we can see the 28 and 32. Every time we come here, look at this, $33 we managed, came down, couldn't get above 25 again, and broke down. Sad story with Solana. $25 is this zone value area high, but I think if I expand it now, we might get some more price action. Still the same, slight movement, moved away. So I would say if we get rejected from the value area high, we do come back to the POC, which is at 23,306. If you lose that, you come to the value area low down at 19.4. Simple for Solana. My targets are down there. You could see them. From $5 to $9 for Solana. Litecoin has some levels. It hasn't been able to go back to my levels that I had, but if you're trading Litecoin, it looks like 3 hits the low. It could be forming some sort of an ugly head and shoulders. However, it could be left shoulder, head, or 3 drives to the low, and you get that. and then you have a neckline, you draw a neckline, and you have a breakout and a measured move. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't really believe that will happen, but I'm giving you the possibilities. That's the thing about my channel. I give you both scenarios. $81 Litecoin is possible. We have resistance at 85 followed by 95. So for Litecoin, my levels always remain the same: 73, 85, 95. If you can get above the 95, then you could go up to these targets. See, I'm not only bearish. 108, 111 is very possible, and even if we start breaking that, we could go higher. So for Litecoin at the moment, looking at this pattern, you had a 1-2. Let's look at that. You started down here, you came up here, yeah, you came up there and you broke down here, and then you hit your 1.618 somewhere here, or you could say this is the 1-to-1 that you hit somewhere here, and I'm going to show you that clearly so I can tell you what has happened. You came to the 1.272, so you had a 1, 2, 3 that went all the way to the 1.272. And then after you had that, you had a retracement. You could call it a fourth wave if it's not that deep. It came so deep it almost gave you another 1-2, and it went up. So we look at that. You had another 1, 2, and you spiked up all the way, exceeding the 1-to-1. And then I think you had another retracement of a 1.618. Or even more. So it's been doing a lot of chop. So you had another 1-2, and you're expecting to blast off again. So if it was to blast off, it shouldn't have broken this low. You have a problem. You've broken your bullish scenario. So this whole move in Litecoin could have been done, finished, and we might be going down. Unless Litecoin is going to turn bullish and form a bigger 1-2. Now let's remove that so we can get that exact. And bigger 1-2 should hold the 0.786, which it did. Fair. Wicked below it, $56. So Litecoin's bullish scenario depends on the $56 range. That's long term. Another thing is that it shouldn't start breaking these lows. It should maintain this. But looking at this move down on Litecoin, this move we're having now is just a correction, in my opinion. Looks very corrective. We could have a bounce that could recover. I said $83. $83 will take you, $81 could take you to these, recovering all these red candles that you have in the chart. So it's not far-fetched. Quant, on the other hand, let's look at Quant. What is Bitcoin doing? Still holding the range, waiting for New York. Quant, on the other hand, came all the way up to $89, only to dump back down, $86. Broke out of the psychological range to the high, came back down. Nothing fancy. It's looking very bullish for Quant. Look at that. Almost like a triple top. If it wasn't for this deviation, you look like you're forming a head and shoulders. It looks like you're topping out. You look like you're forming a big double top, but I wouldn't consider that. But yeah, you are looking ugly for Quant. And if I take a trend-based fib and measure this, you could see it could be hitting the 1-to-1 to the upside when it pumped yesterday. Yeah, almost 1-to-1, almost $89, and $89 almost hit the 89.30 cents. So the problem with that, what do I have a problem with? That could just be an A, B, C correction over. So what is a bullish scenario? You had a correction over yesterday, and look how it looks on the daily. Does this look bullish to you? You are holding the lows. Don't forget, you are holding the lows. Don't get blindsided, but it's not looking really bullish. Even if it pumps, I'll be looking at the 101 for resistance, 114 and 131. To the downside, it's not really looking that good. Downside move has been fulfilled possibly, but yeah. If we want to analyze the markets, you should always look at the DXY. Always take a look at the dollar index. That's very important. Why? Because the dollar index will tell you the direction of the market. At the moment, from yesterday, the dollar has been dumping, breaking support that was at 106 and going lower. Now the dollar has broken this low on the 15 minutes. That was last week's low. It broke it yesterday, and now we're breaking yesterday's low, and we might head to last week's low. Is it very possible? It is probable, because when you look at it, even on the 15 minutes, not going on the hourly, you can't see much of support. And at the moment you are at this level, you flush out, you're coming down here. What will that do to Bitcoin? It will give that pump to Bitcoin, possibly to those levels that I was talking about, or even exceeding them. The dollar is very important. You should not ignore the dollar. Look at that. That, I would be shorting this somewhere here or here if it was an asset. Yeah? The dollar is going down for some reason. People are loading up in gold, maybe on oil and other stuff. But look at the dollar. So I'm telling you, the dollar to come down is possible. This is on the hourly. We've lost the 50 EMA. On the 4 hourly, maybe we're just breaking it now. Yeah, this candle is breaking it, and this candle still has 20 minutes. On the daily, we didn't touch it yet, but we could retrace to the 105.105, hit the 50 EMA. 105.05 will give us the recovery that I'm talking about of this insufficiency, 105.3, 105.2. So that's for the dollar. But if the dollar starts reversing, the dollar to me has more higher targets, don't get me wrong. But forming a high, forming a low, forming a lower high, and if you start forming a lower low, then you have a problem. But in my books, the dollar still has 115 to get to. 118 in my book, sorry, 118. And this could be some sort of a falling wedge that has formed, and we broke out our falling channel over here. Some sort of a channel, not perfect, but yeah, it is a wedge. We broke out, and the measured move of that at the breakout, if you take the width of the channel and you put it on the breakout somewhere here, it could go to 108. It's very possible. And if you come to 108, you're recovering this insufficiency. Can you see the confluence in the charts and how indicators and trend lines and patterns and Fibonacci all marry up? And once you start understanding that, you'll be trading much better. Now, looking at the dollar, looking at Nasdaq, you need to be aware the Nasdaq formed a beautiful double top that looked like a double bottom, that at the time looked like a double top about to fail, but it formed a double top that could break out to the upside. It's very possible. That's on the 15 minute. This is on the hourly. Is it looking beautiful? I'll tell you no. It doesn't look beautiful, because the Nasdaq basically just from this high over here, this high that we formed over here, from this peak that we formed in September, on September 1st, at around 15,633, we retraced all the way up, very close to the 0.786. Yeah, we retraced very close to the 0.786 actually, and we failed twice at the 0.618. Failed once here and broke out, and today we're failing again, or yesterday we failed again. So this pump to the 0.786 can tell me just the beginning of something, a 1-2 that started over here. You had maybe a 1-2, another 1-2. Yeah, so if you take a Fibonacci retracement from the high here to the low, almost perfect 0.786 in September, on September 1st, and then we did the same thing, 0.786. We are in some sort of triangle that retraces 0.786. That's what triangles do. Value area high of this range is at 0.786. We bounced off the POC that is at 15,000. The value area low would be at 14,682. Sometimes trading the fixed range volume profile is very profitable. Now look at that. Now I said 0.786. Now, since it could be a triangle, or it could be some sort of a bullish pattern, which we like to call a falling wedge. And the funny thing, even if you take this peak to this peak, you can see it's almost 0.786. a double top here, this peak to this peak, 0.786. Now let's dissect this peak of yesterday to this peak and see, is it 0.786? No, it's not 0.786, it's a 0.618. So we could be forming another double top because we've been doing that all along. Double top, and again double, and maybe we're forming the top now, maybe we form the top, or maybe we might spike up, hit the bottom of this red zone that I have at 15,264. I have a sell order over here. If we come in here 15,375, I have a sell order for Nasdaq. But the thing is, if this breaks down, now I have to tell you two things. It's a falling wedge. Falling wedges are bullish. Yeah, and if it's a triangle, it needs first touch A, B, C, D, E, and then we break up. So I expect one more touch, possibly to the lows over here at around 14,357. But how would that happen? What is the path it would take? I believe we have one more pump. I might be wrong. This is what I believe. It's not what will happen. I think we've recovered this insufficiency. We haven't taken this yet. If we come up and take this, or even exceed it to this, that would be a beautiful entry for whoever trades Nasdaq. I think the market wants to short, and if it hasn't done enough yet, it might go up and grab more liquidity to go down before Fed Chair Powell speaks. Now, going back to today, I said that we have core retail sales. So if the actual is greater than the forecast, it's good for currency, and this is the same, and retail sales. If both of these numbers come out greater than forecasted, that would be good for currency, and if they exceed the previous readings, 0.6, then that would be very bullish for the dollar. And that will be coming out in about 45 minutes from now. Okay, so that's for the Nasdaq. This video is getting too long, but I have a lot of things to cover. I haven't done videos in a while. And the S&P 500. So let's go to the Dow Jones. Dow Jones, not much of a difference with the Nasdaq. Levels to the upside, level to the downside. Let me see. I had this level. I wasn't watching the charts. Actually, we haven't gone up there. It's a 0.786 retracement of the 27th July high. So somewhere here. It's a 1-to-1 extension from the 25th of August 2023 low. So 25th of August 2023. Okay, somewhere here. I would say 24th of August. So this level was of significance. I was expecting it to do something like this. We come up, and hit the 1-to-1 extension, which is the 0.786 retracement I was looking for again, and it would have been a perfect entry for my short, but it did not. It just decided to dump straight away, formed the double top again. If you retrace this to here and you bring this to here, you can see that we came to the 0.786. 34,934 was the closing of that candle, and we came down. Bigger picture over here. This is a huge double top. So if you take a Fibonacci retracement from that high to the low, you can see again 0.786 slightly exceeded the 0.786, but there you have that. And now you're kind of ranging at the 0.618. So you could look at it as a stairway, you could look at it as step by step. So you get rejected here, you come down, you bounce here, and if you get rejected here, you'll be looking at the 0.5 fib, and if you get below that and below that, that's how you go. But the level to watch for to the downside, in my opinion, for the Dow Jones is 30,711. This is a zone I'm watching. What would the Dow Jones do once it gets there? Yeah. Now, something to add to give a bit of understanding of what's happening here. We are at the POC, which is the 0.618, and if you get below it, which is 33,000, where is it? 33,911. You're just there at the POC. If you start losing that, you could be coming down to the value area low, which is at 31,888, which is also the 0.382 retracement. So I'll be careful over here with the Dow Jones. I wouldn't be overly bullish, and if it comes up, we could come back to that level that I want, which is very close to the value area high, and 0.786 retracement, get rejected, only to come down. Yeah. Now, last but not least, the Bitcoin of the stock market, the Bitcoin of indices. The S&P 500. S&P 500 is a tech stock. It has a bunch of tech stocks in it. Amazon, Apple, they all play a big part in this. If I'm not mistaken. Now, S&P 500 does move, and Bitcoin follows a lot of times. Over here, when we came from here, from this peak in the S&P 500, we retraced, exceeded the 0.786. This is what I'm talking about in the previous chart. You get rejected, you come below, you get rejected, you come here, you bounce up the 0.618, but if you get rejected below the 4309, you could be coming down to the 4154. This trend line that we broke over here, you remember we were watching this and we had a breakout and back tested and come. If we are to come back down and retest this, that would take S&P down to 3430. That's on the daily chart. It changes with time, obviously. It's a massive double top. You could say it's a double bottom going up, but it does these patterns sometimes. Look at that, and it shoots up. This is a big rally. It could do that. You think it's a double top, and you get 46% pump. Yeah, and you look at it and you say, well, it's retraced. It looked like a double top, 0.786. Doesn't matter. The markets don't care. All right, I hope you liked the update. If you did, it was a bit of a long one. Kind of ran out of breath over there. Just remember, in Bitcoin, we are in a head and shoulders with a very deep down target. Take advantage of the pumps. Don't long the highs like these guys that got wrecked yesterday. Wait for the dumps to long. Wait for the pumps to short. Yeah, my advice. Bitcoin could be dumping now. I missed my trade. Maybe I didn't take it because it didn't come to my entry, but that's fine. You wait for the next entry. Have your levels, watch the charts, subscribe to the channel, share the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.